Why We Want You to Be Rich, 2 Men, 1 Message, by Donald J. Trump and Robert T. Kiyosaki. Picture this. You're backstage at a massive Chicago event. The energy is absolutely electric. Tens of thousands of people are buzzing with anticipation, all hoping to catch a glimpse of the main attraction. A sleek black limousine glides up to the entrance, and suddenly the whispers begin. He's here. Donald Trump just arrived. Standing in the green room watching all this unfold is another man who's also a financial powerhouse. His name is Robert Kiyosaki, the brilliant mind behind Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book has sold over 26 million copies and sat on the New York Times bestseller list for an incredible 5 years. He's a millionaire, a titan in his own world, respected across the globe. But even Kiyosaki feels a surge of awe as he watches Trump's towering presence emerge from that limo. Trump moves through a spontaneous receiving line of admirers, the kind of greeting you'd expect for visiting royalty. He enters the green room, exchanges a few words with some reporters, then walks straight over to Kiyosaki. "You're the #1 personal finance author," Trump says, his tone direct and unmistakable. "And I'm the #1 business author. We should write a book together. What do you think?" Kiyosaki is completely stunned. Here's a billionaire, a genuine global icon, casually proposing a partnership right out of the blue. He manages to stammer out, "Great idea, let's do it," and they seal the deal with a handshake. But on the flight home, doubt starts creeping in. Who am I to write a book with Donald Trump? Kiyosaki wonders. He builds skyscrapers in Manhattan. I own a few apartment buildings. He's a billionaire, and I'm just a millionaire. This moment, this unexpected meeting of 2 financial giants from completely different worlds, is where our story begins. This book wasn't born from a hunger for more fame or fortune. It came from a shared, urgent concern about you, your family, and the financial stability of our world. This isn't your typical get-rich-quick book. In fact, the authors deliberately refuse to give you specific investment advice or tell you exactly what to buy. Instead, they're offering something far more valuable, a chance to see through their eyes. They want to show you the world as they see it, to teach you how to think like the wealthy, so you can navigate a future they believe is dangerous for the unprepared. By the time we're done today, you'll understand the powerful message that brought these 2 men together. You'll see the financial storm clouds they spotted gathering on the horizon, and you'll learn the fundamental mindset shift required not just to survive, but to truly thrive in the years ahead. This is the secret playbook for investing to win, in a world where most people are simply playing not to lose. So what was this urgent concern that united Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki? It wasn't about constructing bigger towers or selling more books. It was something they both witnessed happening to the very foundation of society. They saw the middle class, once the backbone of America and many Western nations, slowly vanishing. Picture an hourglass. At the top, you've got the wealthy. At the bottom, the poor. And that tiny, narrow passage in the middle, that's what's left of the middle class. The sand is steadily pouring from the middle down to the bottom, while a select few manage to climb to the top. The authors believe that soon there will only be 2 classes, the rich and the poor. Their mission is crystal clear, to make sure you end up in the top part of that hourglass. They don't mince words. The rich are getting richer, but are you? We're losing our middle class, and a shrinking middle class threatens the very stability of America and world democracy itself. We want you to be rich so you can be part of the solution, not part of the problem. This isn't just a gut feeling. They point to real trends happening right now. They watched it unfold in Japan, a country that once proudly considered itself completely middle class. Now, Japanese society is starkly divided into winners and losers. They saw the same pattern emerging in America and throughout Europe. But why is this happening? The authors lay the blame squarely on one thing: a profound lack of financial education. Think about your own education. We spend years learning history, science, and literature, But when did anyone actually teach us about money? For most of us, the answer is never. Our schools were designed for the industrial age, when the rules were straightforward. Go to school, land a good, safe job, work hard for 40 years, then retire with a pension from your company and Social Security from the government. That world doesn't exist anymore. The authors identify specific historical moments that completely rewrote the rules of money. It started in 1971, when the dollar was taken off the gold standard. In that single moment, our money stopped being a store of value and became just currency, essentially an IOU from the government. That's the year, they argue, when the advice to save your money became obsolete. Why? Because the government could now print money whenever it wanted, meaning the cash you diligently saved in the bank was silently losing value every single day. Savers became losers. Then came 1974, when a law called ERISA was passed. This eventually killed the secure company pension that our grandparents enjoyed and gave birth to the 401k. The problem, as they explain, is that a pension was a promise to pay you for life. A 401k is just a savings plan that can, and often does, run dry. The financial security of millions was shifted from the company's responsibility directly onto individual shoulders, but nobody taught people how to manage it. Fast forward to the 1990s and 2000s. The internet boom and globalization meant that not just factory jobs, but high-paying white-collar positions like programmers, accountants, and even doctors could now be outsourced to countries with lower costs. The job security that employees once counted on was eroding faster than anyone realized. So here we are today. The old advice to get a job, save your money, invest long-term in mutual funds, and diversify is the financial plan for a shrinking middle class. It's advice for people who are playing not to lose. But Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki don't play not to lose. They play to win. And that fundamental difference in mindset is what they want to teach you. To understand this, we need to explore one of Robert Kiyosaki's most powerful concepts, the cash flow quadrant. It's a simple diagram that explains the 4 different ways people earn money, and it reveals the deep, often hidden values that guide their financial lives. Imagine a large plus sign creating 4 sections. In the top left, you have E for employee. This is someone with a job. Their core value is security. They want a steady paycheck and good benefits. When they think about risk, they're worried about losing their job. In the bottom left, you have S for self-employed or specialist. These are your doctors, lawyers, or small business owners who essentially own their job. Their core value is independence. Their mindset is, if you want it done right, do it yourself. The problem? If they stop working, their income stops too. They don't really own a business. They own a demanding job. The authors argue that our entire school system is designed to produce people for the left side of this quadrant, the employees and self-employed. It teaches us to work hard for money. But the right side of the quadrant is where true wealth gets built. In the top right, you have B for big business owner. This is someone who owns a system with people working for them. Think of someone who owns a McDonald's franchise. They don't have to be there flipping burgers for the business to generate money. Their core value is wealth creation. They build systems that produce income, whether they're physically present or not. This is Donald Trump's territory. And in the bottom right, you have I for investor. This is someone who makes money with money. They don't have to work at all, because their money is working for them. Their core value is financial freedom. This is where both Trump and Kiyosaki ultimately play the game. The left side of the quadrant is about working for money. The right side is about having money work for you. The left side seeks security. The right side seeks freedom. The left side lives by outdated rules. The right side understands the new game. And here's the critical part. Tax laws are written to favor people on the right side. Business owners in the B quadrant get tax breaks because they create jobs. Investors in the I quadrant get tax breaks because they provide capital that fuels the economy. People on the left side, the employees, have the least control and pay the highest percentage in taxes. So the first step to becoming rich is choosing your battlefield. Which quadrant do you want to operate from? Kiyosaki tells a powerful story about this choice. After returning from Vietnam, his poor dad, the highly educated school superintendent, advised him to go back to school, get his PhD, and secure a government job. That was the E quadrant path. But Kiyosaki had been mentored by his rich dad, who taught him the values of the B and I quadrants. He valued freedom over security. This choice created a painful rift with his real father, who couldn't understand why his son was rejecting a safe, respectable career. His dad saw entrepreneurs as greedy. He saw the employee path as noble. But Kiyosaki understood that security and freedom are often opposite values. He says, the people with the most security have the least freedom. The most secure people are locked up in maximum security prison. He chose freedom. This choice is your starting point. It's deciding you no longer want to just live below your means, as most financial experts suggest. You want to expand your means. And how do you do that? You need to learn the 5 principles that the wealthy use to invest to win. These are the tools that separate the right side of the quadrant from the left. The first and most powerful principle is leverage. Leverage is the ability to accomplish more with less. The book explains that most savers and passive investors don't use leverage. When they work, they're only leveraging their own time. 1 hour of work equals 1 hour of pay. But a business owner in the B quadrant leverages other people's time, or OPT. They have hundreds of employees, and they profit from every hour those employees work. Even more powerfully, an I quadrant investor learns to use other people's money, or OPM. This is the secret ingredient. The authors explain that our entire economic system is built for debtors, not savers. When you deposit savings in a bank, it becomes a liability on their books. But when you take out a loan, your debt becomes an asset for the bank. Bankers love lending money to smart investors because it makes the bank richer. Trump and Kiyosaki use debt to build wealth. They borrow money to buy assets like real estate, and their tenants' rent payments cover that debt for them. They're using the bank's money and their tenants' money to build their fortune. That's leverage. A saver who invests in mutual funds has a hard time using this kind of leverage. Try asking a banker for $1 million loan to buy mutual funds. They'll probably laugh at you. Why? Because they consider mutual funds too risky, but they'll line up to lend you money for good real estate. This brings us to the second principle, control. The authors argue that most people think investing is risky, simply because they invest in things they have absolutely zero control over. When you buy a stock or mutual fund, what control do you really have? You can't influence management, you can't change the product, you can't control expenses. All you can do is hope and pray the price goes up. Kiyosaki uses a brilliant metaphor. Imagine getting into a car with no steering wheel, no brakes, and no gas pedal. Would you do it? Of course not. It would be insanely risky. Yet that's exactly what millions of people do when they invest in paper assets. A true investor, a winner, wants control. This is why Trump and Kiyosaki love business and real estate. When you own a business or investment property, you have 6 key controls. 1. Income. You can increase sales or raise rents. 2. Expenses. You can manage costs and find efficiencies. 3. Assets. You control the property or business itself. 4. Liabilities. You control the debt and financing. 5. Management. You can hire and fire the people running the asset. 6. Insurance. You can protect your asset against loss. Warren Buffett doesn't diversify the way most people think. He invests for control. He buys either the entire business or a controlling share. When you have control, your risk drops dramatically. Diversification, he says, is protection against ignorance. It makes very little sense if you know what you're doing. The third principle is creativity. Here, the book introduces the idea of left brain versus right brain thinking. The left brain is logical, linear, and rule-based. The right brain is creative, intuitive, and sees the big picture. Our school system is designed for left brain thinkers. Investments like savings, stocks, and mutual funds are perfect for the left brain. There are strict rules set by agencies like the SEC, and if you try getting too creative, you could end up in jail for something like insider trading. But real estate and business are playgrounds for the right brain. They reward creativity. For example, with property you can get creative. You can change zoning from farmland to commercial, instantly multiplying its value. You can take a rundown building, add some paint and new landscaping, and increase rental income. You can change your business model, create new brands, or hire a new management team. As Trump says, he can see a golden skyscraper where others only see a vacant lot or crumbling building. That's right-brain creativity at work. This creativity is what allows a smart investor to generate wealth where a passive investor sees nothing. The fourth principle is expansion. This is Donald Trump's signature philosophy, think big, but it's more than just a mindset. It's a strategy. It's the difference between the S quadrant and the B quadrant. An S quadrant business owner, like a freelance baker, might make the best cake in town, but they are the system. If they get sick, the business stops. They can only bake so many cakes in a day. Their income is capped. A B quadrant entrepreneur, like Ray Kroc, doesn't make the best hamburger. You could probably make a better burger at home. But Ray Kroc built a brilliant business system, the McDonald's franchise, that could be replicated thousands of times worldwide. He didn't just leverage himself, he expanded his leverage. To do this, you need what Kiyosaki calls the BI triangle. It's a framework for the 8 essential components of any successful business: mission, team, leadership, cash flow, communications, systems, legal, and product. Notice that product is the smallest, least important piece at the very top. The foundation of the entire triangle is mission. Your mission is your why. It's the spirit and heart of your business. Without a powerful mission, most entrepreneurs give up when things get tough. Making money isn't a strong enough mission to carry you through inevitable failures. The authors both say they don't work for money. They have a mission. Their mission is spreading financial education. That's what drives them to keep working, long after they needed the money. The final principle is predictability. Most people think getting rich is risky, a matter of luck, or something that only happens to a chosen few. The authors argue the exact opposite. Getting very rich is predictable. It's a process, a formula. Kiyosaki explains this with the story of an apple farmer. The farmer starts with 1 acre of apple trees. Planting that first acre is hard. It takes time and money he doesn't have. For a few years, nothing happens. Then the apples appear. He sells them, and with the profits, he buys 2 more acres. Soon, he has 100 acres, all producing apples. It started slow, but the outcome was predictable. It's the same formula you see in Monopoly. 1 greenhouse gives you a little rent. 2 houses give you more. A red hotel gives you even more. It's a predictable process of acquiring assets that generate cash flow. When Kiyosaki buys a building, he's confident he'll receive 4 types of income. 1. Rental income, positive cash flow. 2. Depreciation, a phantom cash flow from tax breaks. 3. Amortization, the tenant paying off his loan for him. 4. Appreciation, the value going up over time. He puts appreciation last because he doesn't count on it. That's speculating, not investing. But for most amateur investors, appreciation or capital gains is the only thing they invest for. They buy low and pray it goes high. This strategy only works in a rising market. When the market turns, they get wiped out. A professional investor makes money in any market because they're investing for cash flow and intrinsic value, not just price. When you put these 5 principles together, leverage, control, creativity, expansion, and predictability, you have the formula for getting very rich. It's the process that separates the 10% of people who make 90% of the money from everyone else. But knowing the formula isn't enough. You need the character to execute it. This is where the book shifts from technical to personal. It's about the defining moments that shape a winner's mindset. Both authors share deeply personal stories about what they learned from their parents, from school, from the military, and from sports. These aren't just anecdotes. They're the foundation of their philosophies. Robert Kiyosaki speaks of his father, the head of education in Hawaii, a brilliant and good man who dedicated his life to public service. But when he ran for political office and lost, the system he'd served his whole life turned its back on him. He was blacklisted, unable to get a government job ever again. He tried starting a business and failed, losing his life savings. Kiyosaki returned home from Vietnam to find his father, a man in his 50s, broken. That was a defining moment. He realized his father's traditional education hadn't prepared him for the real world. It had prepared him to be an employee, and when that was taken away, he was lost. At that moment, Kiyosaki knew he had to follow his rich dad's path. He had to learn to be an entrepreneur, to take control of his own destiny. Donald Trump tells a similar story, but from a different angle. His father, Fred Trump, was a self-made man who started working at age 11 after his own father died. He never went to college, but he built a real estate empire through sheer hard work, common sense, and an unshakable work ethic. His father's motto was, "Know everything you can about what you're doing." From a young age, Donald learned to assess things mentally first, to take the guesswork out of the process, which reduces risk. He learned that intelligent work produces intelligent results. Both men also share powerful lessons from their military experience. Trump explains how at military school, he faced a tough drill sergeant he knew he couldn't beat physically, so he had to use his brain. He learned to negotiate, to find a way to get the sergeant on his side. They met from a position of mutual strength and respect, not weakness. That became a core lesson for his entire business career. Kiyosaki's experience as a pilot in Vietnam taught him two brutal, unforgettable lessons. His instructor told him, "The trouble with this business is that there is no second place. Only one pilot comes home alive." From that day on, Kiyosaki approached business with the same intensity. There is no second place. The other lesson was about risk. He realized, combat isn't risky. Being unprepared is risky. This is why he and Trump invest so much time in financial education. They prepare relentlessly to reduce risk. Most people invest their money but not their time. The rich invest their time first, then their money. So if you're an adult today without much money, what do you do? The book lays out two clear choices: simplicity or complexity. You can choose to simplify your life, live below your means, downsize, maybe even move somewhere with a lower cost of living. There's no shame in that. It's an honorable choice. Or you can choose complexity. You can decide to expand your means and play the global game of money. This requires a commitment to lifelong learning. It means reading financial news, attending seminars, and keeping up with world markets. It means stepping onto a bigger stage. If you choose complexity, the authors offer 3 powerful starting points to get into the B&I quadrants. First, real estate. As we've seen, they love it for the control, leverage, cash flow, and tax advantages. It's a slow-moving asset, which Kiyosaki likes because he admits he's not a tech guy. Real estate, he says, will take a while to become obsolete. Second, network marketing. At first, Kiyosaki was against it, thinking it was a pyramid scheme, but he changed his mind when he saw it as a low-cost, low-risk way for someone to learn the skills of the B quadrant. A good network marketing company, he says, isn't just about selling a product. It's a business school for entrepreneurs. It teaches you sales, communication, leadership, and how to overcome the fear of rejection, all for a fraction of the cost of a traditional business or an MBA. Third, starting your own business. This is the ultimate path to freedom and control. It's also the toughest. Your business becomes a mirror. reflecting all your strengths and weaknesses. If you're good, it can make you richer than you ever dreamed. If you're not, it will chew you up and spit you out. It's not for everyone. Trump is careful to say he doesn't recommend it for people who aren't natural entrepreneurs, who lack the singular focus and perseverance required. But for those who have it, owning your own business is the most empowering feeling in the world. It's the ultimate expression of your vision and values. In the end, all these paths lead back to one final, essential quality: leadership. Leaders, the authors conclude, are teachers. My rich dad didn't give me money, Kiyosaki says. He gave me the power to see. He taught him to see the 4 streams of income in a real estate deal where others only saw a building. He gave him vision. That's the true purpose of financial literacy. It's not just about learning to read numbers on a page. It's about learning to see with your mind what your eyes cannot. It's about seeing opportunity where others see risk. It's about seeing a future of abundance where others see scarcity. That's the vision Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki want to share with you. They don't want you to be a victim of a changing world. They want you to become a leader, a teacher, someone who takes control of their financial destiny and inspires others to do the same. They want you to be rich, not just for the money, but for the freedom, the power, and the ability to become part of the solution. As we wrap up our exploration of why we want you to be rich, what are the big, lasting ideas we should take away? This book isn't a step-by-step guide. It's a manifesto. It's a wake-up call. The most powerful lesson, in my mind, is the idea that your financial destiny isn't determined by your job, your paycheck, or even your savings account. It's determined by the quadrant you choose to operate from. Are you an employee, trading your time for security? Are you self-employed, owning a job that owns you? Or are you a business owner and investor, building systems and assets that work for you, creating a life of freedom? That single question is more important than any stock tip or real estate deal. It forces you to look at the very foundation of your financial life and ask if it's built on solid ground or on the shifting sands of an outdated economic model. The author's message is both alarming and empowering. It's alarming because they paint a stark picture of a world where old promises of security are broken. The idea that you can just work hard and be taken care of is, in their view, a dangerous fantasy. But it's empowering because they offer a way out. They're telling you that you don't have to be a pawn in a game you don't understand. You can learn the rules. You can change your position on the board. You can go from being a piece that gets moved around to being the player who controls the game. The path they lay out isn't easy. It requires a profound commitment to self-education. It means being willing to make mistakes, face your fears, and unlearn a lifetime of conventional wisdom about money. It requires you to stop thinking like a saver and start thinking like a debtor, to stop seeking safety and start seeking control, to stop living below your means and start relentlessly expanding them. So how can you start applying these ideas today in a practical way? First, begin your financial education. One of the most accessible ways to do this is to play Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game. You can find versions online for free. It's not just a game, it's a simulator. It will train your brain to see opportunities, understand cash flow, and think like an investor, all without risking a single dollar of real money. Second, consider starting a small, part-time business. The book strongly recommends network marketing for its educational value, but it could be anything. Sell something on Etsy, offer a service on Upwork, start a small e-commerce store. The goal isn't necessarily to get rich overnight. The goal is to step into the B quadrant and start learning. You'll learn about marketing, sales, accounting, and dealing with people in ways you never could as an employee. You'll start building the skills and mindset of an entrepreneur. And third, change your environment. Surround yourself with people who are playing the game you want to play. If you want to be an investor, join a local real estate investment club. If you want to be an entrepreneur, find a mastermind group or business book club. As the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by people with an employee mindset, it will be incredibly difficult to break free. Change your environment, and you'll change your thinking. That was a summary of Why We Want You to Be Rich by Donald J. Trump and Robert T. Kiyosaki. We've journeyed through the core of their message today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a great city. It shows you the layout, but it can never replace the experience of walking the streets yourself. The real power of this book is in the stories, the shifts in perspective, and the way the authors challenge you to think bigger. This summary is your map, designed to help you decide if this journey is one you want to take. If the call for financial freedom and the challenge to take control resonated with you, I encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about absorbing information. It's about starting a conversation with yourself about what's truly possible for your life. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this deep dive valuable, a simple click on the like button and subscribing to the channel would mean the world. It helps us continue bringing these powerful ideas to more people. Let's keep learning and growing together. I'll see you in the next summary.